Eastsider needs his own therapeutic Davenport of love.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, Johnny Kotishka, the mailman on the east side.
Is there a more self-loathing Packers fan than him?
But, I mean, he'll text Tolstoy's to 9 to noon, Nordo and yours truly during the course of the radio show.
Beautiful novellas.
Right. And granted, you know, I mean, with respect, I read 10% of them. Simply because I'm executing my toil for profit into this microphone and don't have time to read the Tolstoy.
Stoplights only last so long.
But is there a more self-loathing Green Bay Packers fan than the civil servant?
Yeah.
The East Side mailman, Johnny K. What's this one? Fan base more delusional with their quarterback. Cowboys with Dak or Packer fans with Love. Now, look, I didn't say that, and I didn't write it. This was given to me by a learned sports mind.
Yes.
Via my personal phone text machine.
You got the same one.
So I'm not the one saying, who's more delusional, Jamar from Brooklyn Park and all these Cowboy fans and super special Dak, or Packers fans and the guy who throws every pass from his back leg.
Oh my gosh.
It is embarrassing. This was written to me by a Packers fan, self-loathing as he is.
By the civil servant.
It is embarrassing how delusional so many fellow Packers fans are when you objectively say how bad Love's mechanics are. My biggest beef is that you make him correct the bad mechanics before you give him the monster extension. Oh, that's right. He's like one of the highest paid players in the history of the NFL. I'm sure that's going to make it easy to keep Micah. He didn't put that in the text. I just added that as an aside. If you look at how Rodgers held and threw the ball out of college compared to 3 years later when he became the starter, you would have thought they were two completely different quarterbacks. Aaron perfected his craft. Aaron perfected his craft. Love has not. Love can make any throw. Mechanics hold him back from taking the next step. And see, I think the civil servant is like me / us. I don't believe in luck. I don't believe in karma. I don't believe that, like, I'm going to write that and, like, not will it into existence. Instead, I'm going to write it because then it's going to be an offshoot of some negative thing and it's going to completely flip. And then I'm going to be like, hey, guys, I know I sent that text early June, but, man, am I happy to be wrong. No, he doesn't do it for that reason either.
No.
He does it because he's an elite sports mind, one of the better daily fantasy and fantasy sports minds that I've ever known, John Kotishka.
He's very good.
And he's on his therapeutic Davenport of love. Joining us now is Ben Goessling. He covers the Minnesota Vikings, assumedly for profit, for the Star Tribune and StarTribune.com. We have an Access Vikings podcast. We have a newsletter. We got a lot of tweeting at Ben Goessling regarding Nolan Teasley, the new general manager for the Minnesota Vikings. But the reason, as you just sauntered in, it was more of a gavotte as you danced into the studio hurriedly, where we had an account executive waiting for you at the front door. That's how important you are.
Yeah.
And that's how much we covet you and love having you on the 9 to noon radio show. The term therapeutic Davenport of love was mentioned right as you walked in. That was for a self-loathing Green Bay Packers fan who had sent a text kind of ripping on his quarterback's mechanics.
Okay.
And the genesis of this was when you texted me saying I'm late, bad traffic, and it seemed to be less than even-keeled Scribe, and my beloved brother in Scribe, and the man I love, is generally quite even-keeled, specifically when handling situations like that. So with all the remodeling and renovating here and everything, I went to the covert closet to find the therapeutic Davenport of love in case you needed it, but everything's moved and I can't find it. This is the worst market in the world to not have a therapeutic Davenport of love with the core four sports teams, Vikings, Wild, Timberwolves, and Twins. But I was going to lay it out for you.
Yeah.
Simply because I just, why don't you just tell us about that traffic and being 6 minutes late probably doesn't, maybe 8 minutes late probably doesn't make you happy. Just how frustrated are you right now?
It's not too bad.
Oh, come on.
The 62, 494 backups everywhere because everything's under construction and it's summertime in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Is because I always
and then you go to head east on our street, closed.
Yeah, that was also part of it. And then parking in the ramp.
He doesn't know that sneaky little parking lot cut across, does he?
It's a beautiful thing. I'll tell you during the break.
Yeah, I got to learn about this because the park and then
we won't see you for another month.
The parking ramp, yeah, I suppose the parking ramp was also very full. So it was just a combination of okay, a minute here, a minute here, a minute here.
Let it out.
And, it just adds up.
Well, you have to be frustrated because if you're not frustrated, that means you don't care about the 9 to noon show, whether you're 8 minutes late or not.
Yeah, it's, yes. In that sense, I am frustrated because you guys deserve nothing but my best.
Damn, you got a nice tan.
Yeah, it's track season.
You handled that chair more aggressively when you entered the studio than I've ever observed.
Than Robbie Rosenhaus 6 years ago. Plopped in that thing and almost broke the sucker. Tell us about your Apple Valley High School distance team.
Yeah, I would love to.
Busy week for you guys. I know last week when I tried to set you up and you went Heisman on me with the stiff arm.
Yeah.
But for a good reason. It was in St. Paul. And what's going on with the squad?
The squad had quite the weekend. We qualified 2 girls for the state track and field meets.
Whoa!
Tomorrow, they will run, Thursday morning.
Yeah.
Sophia Meyer, our freshman, won the section title, and Elise Weissenberger, our senior.
That's the thing I just retweeted.
Yes.
Or because I was going through your tweets. Why? Because during the renovation, I just can't seem to get a printer to get online with my new computer and stuff like that.
I always love that.
So I'm handwriting scribe questions, looking through Twitter, and I see this. I will return from Cloud 9 sometime later this weekend.
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool.
Well, and the way that Elise claimed that second spot was one of the great moments of, I've been coaching for 14 years. So she was seated second, and there was a girl from Egan that had tried to kind of jump in and take the girl from Egan.
Like Rosie Ruiz?
Well, actually, no. I mean, just trying to move early in the race, but she took the lead for a while, and Elise was probably 20, 30 meters back as they came around the last 200 meters. And she's kind of thinking, okay, I'm going to be third. And, I had a good race and that's going to be it because the top 2 go. But this girl starts to slow down a little bit. And Elise says, I think I can catch her.
Ooh.
And
in the latter stages?
She caught her in the last 10 meters.
Oh!
She tried to move inside and that got blocked. So she pivoted. She's a soccer player in the fall. So a little bit of the lateral mobility probably helped. And we work a lot of lateral mobility with our distance runners anyway, because sometimes you need it.
Yeah, of course.
And she cut back outside. It wasn't quite an Adrian jump cut, but in terms of track and field with distance runners, it's about as good of a jump cut as you're going to see.
I wish I'd called that race.
I have video of it if you want to see it at some point. But yes, she passed her and then claimed the second spot. So I think we were one of 4 teams in the state to sweep a distance category in Class AAA. So it was quite a moment, quite a day, and those ladies had a great race earlier in the day, and we had a lot of really good things happen. I spent a lot of time looking up fastest we've been since 2006. First, we've done this since 2008. It was when you're going into the record books to try to find first time since this, and those dates are, as I told a number of our runners, this is the fastest anybody has done this in your lifetime. That is usually a good sign.
This is immortality.
It was an awesome day. It was quite a lot of fun. Basically, as soon as that race ended, I watched the video of it. You see me jump, as far.
You watched the video to look for yourself?
No, I watched it to see it. I want to see what my reaction was. I remember just losing my mind, and
that's awesome.
I jumped and started pumping my fist and yelling. And I
got to see the video.
Yeah, it was.
Well, can you put it on the X machine?
Yeah, I can do that.
Oh, that'd be cool.
We can make that happen.
I'll give you a retweet for whatever it's worth.
We can definitely do that.
AVHS sports programs and the distance team. Who knew? Yeah. Congratulations.
So thank you.
When we do this during the course of the football season, your sponsor, Standard Heating and Air, is that it?
Yes.
Standard Heating and Air.
Yes, sir.
Well, okay, I don't know what the latter stages of your week look like, but you may have seen my phone blowing up here. The general manager for Standard has been texting me saying, it's really cool that Thursday you're going to do the 9 to noon show, from 9 until noon, and they're going to give you a $15,000 bonus.
Oh, I always love that one.
But you have a track thing, right? You have a conflict?
On Thursday, yes, I do.
What's...
Well, they run at 12:01. So
great. Well, the show goes that day until 1 p.m. And the only way for you to scoop that bonus from Standard Heating and Air is for you to be here at 8:30 to help us get the printer online, and then stay till 12:30.
Do it virtually,
and even the
St. Michael. See, the thing is, the state meets out in St. Michael, so it's like.
But what if they
offer? If the State High School League is listening, can we move this thing back to like civilization at some point, guys? Like, it's a great venue. No disrespect to St. Michael, they do a great job with it, but. It's a long drive. Okay. Can we put it back in?
Well, the GM's going to offer to pay you virtually. The GM's going to offer to pay you virtually, and Nordo's going to get in some poly market scam.
There you go. I always love that.
So I think we'll just skip until next time.
I wouldn't miss this with these kids. So we'll have to take a rain check. What
do you genuinely enjoy about coaching student athletes, coaching high school kids?
Yeah, it is. Man, when I got into this 14 years ago, I thought, like, okay, this will be fun. And you kind of just get to connect with kids, but it is so much more rewarding than anything I ever could have expected, because you are working with people who are at kind of a pivotal point in their life, and they're trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to be as an adult, and what is my life going to look like? And the thing I get to do a lot is help them realize I'm capable of bigger things than maybe even I would have thought. I mean, when Elise came off that track on Friday, we talked a little bit afterwards, and she kind of said, I didn't know I had that in me. And like, that's the stuff you live for, because she had it the whole time, and she was powerful enough to do that the whole time. But to see that happen in that setting, like, that would have been the last race of her high school career if she hadn't dug deep and made that move. So, I mean, Kevin O'Connell says this a lot.
Wow.
Excuse me.
So you coach class on the grass?
Well, it's on the turf, or on the track, I suppose.
Well, just give yourself a nice big throw, Claire. Turn your mic off. Hold on. You're listening to 9 to Noon at FM 100.3 KFAN. It's 10:18. Good morning.
We're good. Thank you. Yeah, the phrase "be at your best when your best is required."
Oh, good.
She was at her best when her best is required.
Yeah, especially in low red when she took off.
Yeah, and yes, no doubt about it. That's exactly what it was. She was in the low red.
Have you used the term weighty downs while coaching the kids?
I have not used that. Okay. I have used "be at your best when your best is required."
Love it.
And I'm trying to think if there's any other ones, any other KOC-isms that have slipped in. There's probably been a few. Mm-hmm. I'd have to think about that. I mean, I think I talked about culture a little bit last week, so some of those things come in.
The number one former Vikings coach ism that I've stolen, and used repeatedly for now over a decade. Handling school. Brad Childress, handling school. Yeah. It was 2009. You started in 2012. I'm talking about Brett Favre on our weekly show, and starts it by saying, well, he's been to handling school.
Yeah.
I'm like, handling school? That's the bomb.
Yeah.
It's like, you got a degree from handling school. You can handle everything.
Yeah.
Handling school. But anyway.
Yeah. So, some of those things I suppose slip in there, but it's, and I've heard him talk about this, that thing of helping athletes, and he and I have had a couple conversations about this, just kind of the art of coaching stuff. And he knows I do this. So we've talked a little bit about this, but just that thing of connecting with people and helping them get to a point that maybe is more than what they realize they could do is not that different. It's that commonality exists across sports and across genders and all of those things. So that part of it is incredibly fun. And you work with kids. I'm lucky in the sense that distance runners are typically, like Elise she won our AAA award for academics, arts, and athletics, and she's a dancer. She's in band. She gets straight A's. I mean, you deal with a lot of the kids in the distance world are those types of kids where they're typically hyper involved in things. So you're trying to figure out schedules a lot of times, but they succeed in a lot of the ways that they apply themselves because they just understand what it means to work and stay on top of things and expect yourself to do things at a high level. And so you work with a lot of people. It's so, especially in the distance world, it's so drama free. Typically, it's so
because they can run away from the problem.
Well, they're typically positive and supportive and just high achieving people who want to do big things. So you just walk away from it like, man, it gives you a lot of energy. So I always feel like I get more out of it than I put into it. And it's a lot of time, and you put in a lot of energy and a lot of effort. Last week, you're going into that, and it's like Sarah Sutton, my co-coach, and I were talking about this, like, neither of us is sleeping well because you're worried about, going to these big meets. But then you have that happen, and it's like, okay, this is, I'm never going to forget this race as long as I live.
And then the reactions of those things. The parents too, probably, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, all
it
of
has
that.
tentacles.
Yeah, so she's at her graduation on Saturday morning, and they gave her a shout out during commencement about going to the state meet. And then I'm at the open house on Saturday talking with her grandparents, and they got to see they were at the meet to watch that happen. And I thought about that with her parents afterwards. Like, how cool must it have been to watch your daughter do that in that setting? And it's just those moments you're like, okay, I'm just grateful I got to be a part of that on whatever level. Because on race day, you don't really, you don't do that much. You basically, your work is already done, and you kind of tell them some variation of, hey, go faster, or hey, you're going a little too fast here, so slow down so you can go faster later. Like the race day coaching, you don't really do that much. Yeah. It's more on the front end of it. But so you kind of just sit back and enjoy and try to. You're incredibly nervous for them, but yeah, a lot of it is you get to kind of just take it in and be like, man, how lucky am I to have watched that.
Who did the Apple Valley High School commencement? Was it Tyus or Trey Jones, Gary Trent Jr., or Lindsey Vaughn?
I always love that one.
Yeah, I don't actually know, but Lindsay was, she was in the same third grade class as my sister, I believe, back at Echo Park Elementary in Burnsville, Minnesota, back in the early 1990s before she moved out west in sights of bigger heights, quite literally. It's hard to practice for the downhill. I mean, they've had a lot of Olympic athletes at Buck Hill, but practicing for the downhill is a little hard in Minnesota, so she had to move out west for that. But yes, that whole crew is Apple Valley royalty, no doubt about it.
Well, this is the first time I've ever looked at or Googled most famous Apple Valley HS students.
Yeah.
Now there's an Apple Valley High School in California.
Yes, there
just
is.
have learned. I mean, Cuba Gooding Jr. did not go to Apple Valley High School, Minnesota,
He
right?
did not. No.
What about Colleen Rowley, former FBI agent, 9/11 whistleblower, and named Time Magazine's Person of the Year in 2002?
Is this California or Minnesota?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. I mean, it would be like...
You can claim her.
I think Gable Stevenson was...
He did.
Stevenson, excuse me.
Yep. Caitlin Reese, I believe, or Elizabeth Reese, I should say. Caitlin Reese was a great runner for us as well. But Elizabeth Reese, Ben Lieber's co-host on Twin Cities Live, is an Apple Valley grad. I think the dude that played...
Well, there's a
Percy
kicker for
the Green Mile.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's a former place kicker for the Portland Thunder of the Arena Football League, Brady Beeson.
Yep.
Yeah, we got Brady Beeson. We have Rebecca Bradford.
Yep.
Who, by the way,
skater.
Oh, yes, in the 2010 Olympics.
Yeah.
Apple Valley High School, let's go. We have Angela
She was my
Herman.
girlfriend in 8th grade.
And she was?
Rebecca Bradford was, yep.
Oh, the guy who played Pete in Mad Men, Vincent Kartheiser, went to Apple Valley.
Yep.
So did Rebecca bring you to the 2010 Olympics just as like an honorary old school boyfriend?
She did not, no. And it was like, I think this was 8th grade, so we probably, when I say girlfriend, like we talked a few times, but that was about it.
So you had a crush on her and she stiff-armed you.
Well, no, it was a
learning moment.
It was a brief relationship. We went to the school dance together. I mean, that was in 8th grade. It's about as far as you get.
Was it a Sadie Hawkins dance and she asked you?
No, it was probably in the spring, but it was one of those. Yeah, it's one of those like, she made the Olympics.
Lastly for this segment, and then we're going to get into some Teasley talk and some Teasley tedium and tidbits. With the honor of coaching at Apple Valley High School and the distance teams. It's an honor. How do you handle sharing your faith with student athletes at a public school?
Well, it's conversations. And it's usually something, if they talk about something and they ask me about, what my life is like, it comes up there. I mean, that's about all you can do because it's a public school and you respect the fact that everybody comes from a different place. And so if it comes up, and there are a lot of kids on our team that are believers. So if those things happen, you have those conversations, and, I've been able to speak at a couple of FCA type things, and That was more just about kind of here's how college athletics works and how you come into it. Because coaching at Augsburg too, I can speak into some of those things and say here's what the process is like of getting recruited and that kind of thing. We did that a little bit earlier this spring, but yeah, it's usually just if they ask, it's like, okay, well, yeah, I can share that part of my life with you. But
so
yeah,
if somebody
comes up that way.
If somebody's like, I'm unusually nervous into this race, does the scribe immediately say, well, in the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verse 6, it says we're not to be anxious. Instead, pray this way. But that doesn't mean we're never going to be anxious or have anxiety. Yeah. It's just a sin to become to become prisoner to said anxiety. Now go out there and run.
That doesn't really come up that way. I think a lot of the time and it depends on the kid, kind of know where the relationship is at. But a lot of it is, hey, there are bigger things in the world than this. And if whatever happens in this race is not going to change the way we feel about you as a person, like we're incredibly proud of you no matter what. And I had that conversation.
That's beautiful.
There'll be times where kids will be nervous, and especially like a midseason meet where there's like 20 people in the stands, and I'll just have them look up and say, okay, because you're saying, everybody's watching me. And I said, let's see who everybody is. Yeah. Like, your parents are there, grandma and grandpa are there, that kid over here probably has his parents here. And I'll kind of say this to be encouraging and kind of just to let the pressure out and be like, this isn't that big of a deal.
Right.
There aren't that many people in the stands.
It's Hevel.
A fifth of them are rooting for you.
Correct. And I sometimes I will joke with them and say, I say this in the most loving way possible, but nobody cares.
That's so beautiful.
It's high school sports. Yeah. Let's just relax and have fun. This is the glorified version of field day in elementary school.
Go out and win the award, grab the gold, and if you don't get too down on yourself.
It's okay.
But at the end of the equation, it's all meaningless.
Yeah,
it's like chasing after the wind.
Yeah, and there's in that kind of a race, and I'm sure there's people listening to this that, kids may have been in that race on Friday and they didn't get the medal they wanted. It's like, there's 9 people in that race and 2 are going to come out of it with what they want. So your odds aren't good.
Right.
And everybody's competing at their best. And that's the beauty of that sport, is that you don't play defense against people. It's, I'm going to be at my best, you're going to be at my best, or you're going to be at your best, and we'll see who gets to the line first. But you can bring the best out of a lot of people. And there's a beauty in that, even if you're not at the point where you come out of it with a medal. So
the learned scribe, Ben Goessling, playing from the heart. At Ben Goessling via X, he's with the Star Tribune, covers the Minnesota Vikings. He will be front and center at, and I know that because I go to a lot of Vikings press conferences, and I know exactly where they all sit, and they all sit in the same spot every single time.
You do.
So there are three rows of tables. Ben will be right in the middle, right up front, right in front of Nolan Teasley, Kevin O'Connell, Mark Wilf, et al. That'll be tomorrow at 10 o'clock. We'll carry it during the 9 to noon show, and we'll talk about the new general manager with Ben when we return.
This is 9 to noon, live on iHeartRadio and KFAN, The Fan.
From the 1-800 Ask Gary Traffic Center. This report is sponsored by
10:35, we run into our second segment with Ben Goessling, the scribe for the Star Tribune, startribune.com, at Ben Goessling via X. The Minnesota Vikings, the fan has learned, and as we chatted yesterday for at least half the radio show, hired a general manager. The man's name is Nolan Teasley. We have a press conference at 10 o'clock tomorrow, carried here 9 to noon. We begin here with Ben. Was Nolan a long shot winner in this race?
I don't know that I would say that. As I learned more about it, it sounds like he actually was pretty high on a lot of lists. I think he was somebody whose stock had risen over the last few years, in part because of what the Seahawks had done. I mean, he'd been there since 2013. So he gets in. Actually, it's kind of an interesting story. I don't know how much you guys got into this, like his marketing background, that he wasn't going to work in football. And
then 6 years.
Yeah, and then sent letters to every team. But so he gets there with the first run with the Legion of Boom, and then they make the run. They have to reset it all. And that team last year was completely different. Obviously, Russell Wilson's gone. All the defenders are gone. They obviously signed Sam Darnold, and they make all these draft picks with Eamon Warry and Kenneth Walker.
His second year with the team was when Walsh missed the kick at your alma mater.
Yes. Well, no, that would have been that was probably third year, because that was 2015, I think.
Got it.
So, yes, and then they ended up, I think, winning the NFC title. Well, they won it in 14, and they lost the Super Bowl, and I think in 15 they must have lost it. Well, Carolina, because Carolina went to the Super Bowl, but they went on that run last year, obviously, with all those draft picks. So his stock has gone up, but just come to find out, he has gotten to know Kevin O'Connell quite well because Kevin O'Connell has developed a relationship with John Schneider, just crossing paths throughout the league and, getting to know people. And as you've learned, and I've certainly learned, the Kevin O'Connell Rolodex in the NFL is quite deep. Mm-hmm. He has quite a few connections. So there was a prior history with those two, with Teasley and O'Connell, and I think they thought very highly of one another from getting to know each other. And some of what you have to figure out with this is who's going to be, you're not starting from a blank slate. You have a head coach. You have to find somebody who's going to work well with that head coach. And you want to have that relationship be a productive one for everybody. So that was part of it. I think his acumen as a scout is really high. I've talked to some people that worked with him and said he's as good as you'll find in terms of preparation, in terms of an eye for things, ways to incorporate analytics with scouting. He has been at the forefront of a lot of those things. And yeah, you hear a lot of people have good things to say about him. So maybe a long shot only in the sense that he had not worked in Minnesota.
But he never left the state of Washington.
Right.
He was born there.
Yes.
The whole thing. He's
Correct.
never left the state of Washington.
Yes. He is very much a Pacific Northwesterner. But yeah, it wasn't Terrence Gray or Reed Burkhardt who had worked in the organization. Obviously, Rob Brzezinski had been in the organization forever. And the question was, are they going to give him the full-time job? But yeah, I think as it went through it, the resume he built as a scout and the connections he had around the league, including with Kevin O'Connell, played very much in his favor.
Okay, well, speaking of the head coach, Kevin O'Connell, the Vikings released Kevin O'Connell press release yesterday about what he thought about Teasley. Think we'll hear from KO tomorrow?
I think we hear from him Thursday, actually.
Okay, Thursday.
After OTAs.
Now, Kevin said about Teasley several things, but one of them was their deeply rooted belief in consensus building.
Yeah.
In consensus building. What does that mean?
I think a lot of it is being able to, even if you don't agree on everything, I've had, somebody explain this to me this way. Actually, one of our pastors at our church talks a lot about decision making this way. It's, if we agree on every point, that's great, but that's not consensus. That's unanimity. Consensus sometimes is being able to say, even if I don't agree with you on every point, I can walk out of this room and say, I support the general direction of what we're doing.
Like it.
And it doesn't have to be that we're in lockstep on everything, but we see each other's eye to eye. We trust that each person has the best intent for the organization.
So it's kind of like, honey, I may not agree with you, but I understand what you're saying.
Well, I think it's probably a step beyond that, even saying, once we come out of this room and we've made this decision, I'm going to support it. And I'm going to be completely on board with what we are doing when we talk about this and when we move forward. It's not, well, I would have really liked to do this, and you're kind of looking back with some level of regret. I know with the Wilfs, that's been a high priority. I mean, I remember talking to Rob Brzezinski, talking to Kwesi, talking to Kevin O'Connell for a story a few years ago when the Wilfs hit their 20 years of owning the Vikings. And they talk a lot with, if the GM would go to them and say, hey, I'm thinking this, their first question is typically, have you talked to the coach? Whoever it is at the time, whether it's been Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi or Rick Spielman, Mike Zimmer, go back, Rick Spielman, Triangle of Authority days with Brad Childress, Leslie Frazier, all of that kind of stuff. A lot of it is everybody on the same page here, or is at least everybody in a general direction that you're not having somebody, mix the metaphor here, but if you're rowing the boat, you don't have somebody trying to row the wrong way or be counterproductive with it. So I think a lot of when you talk about consensus building is at the least, we are all on a general alignment of where we're going, even if the particulars are a little bit different, and we can support it when we move forward.
With Rob Brzezinski, nearly 3 decades with the team, more than 3 decades in the NFL. Yeah. And I chatted about this a little bit yesterday, not having any idea of the inner workings of what happens to a long tenured, super well respected and accomplished employee who enters a race where it was quite apparent that he wanted to win the race and he didn't win.
Yeah.
So then I just kind of built it up. I contextually speaking, I started at, all right, well, you were in a tricky spot.
Yeah.
He sacrificed and helped you through that tricky spot. You filled his chair and his office by somebody very well recognized, very well respected, Matt Thomas, capologist.
Yeah.
And you hired another general manager. So, like, if you're Brzezinski, who's not of the sour going variety in the first place, if he gets beat or if he wins, like, I just wonder from a Wilf family standpoint, because they've always been very, very good at things like this. I would imagine, all right, here's the title. We ain't going to call it the triangle of authority, but we got the coach, we have the new GM, and we have you. And your say matters. And by the way, for helping us up, and I don't know that this is happening or happened. And by the way, for helping us out of that tricky spot, we're going to increase your pay. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the Wilfs are smart that way, and they act quickly on stuff.
Yeah, I would expect something like what you just laid out has happened or will. I don't know for sure, but knowing how they've typically worked, that none of that would surprise me, because he did help them through a tricky spot where, hey, we're firing a GM on January 31st, and I've had this conversation with a few folks on our staff, just kind of talking through it. It's like, well, okay, it was a 3 or 4 week search. And if you were to do that at the end of January, that puts you combine or so when you're trying to make a hire. And then it's who's staying on the scouting staff. We're in the middle of draft prep. What if you have a GM that, no, I actually don't like this player the way you have him ranked. And then you're kind of doing the back and forth thing in the draft process, which that would have been tricky. So to get through that, I mean, the only way you could have gotten through that is if you had somebody like Rob Brzezinski that you trusted and said, we have a steady hand here. We don't need to rush this. So I would think the appreciation for that and the acknowledgement of he wanted this job. He put his hat in the ring for it and he didn't get it, and saying, okay, we're still going to value you and we're going to let you know that we value the ways that you are going to be part of this process going forward. Yes, I would, and I don't know this, and I don't know that I will get to the point where I have it completely locked down.
Well, I'm never going to ask about it. It's not my business.
It's not that important because it's not salary cap stuff. And I tend to think with
I do think it's important personally, because it's like if somebody helps me through a tricky spot.
I mean, it's important for him. I just don't think it's important for the public to have all of it.
Yeah.
And sometimes with coaches' salaries and stuff, like you find out and you kind of
just want to make sure people are taking care of people.
Yeah, and I like I say, I think I would expect that probably has happened or will in relatively short order, just knowing how they feel about him. And, I've had that conversation with Mark and Ziggy about how they respect Rob Brzezinski and just the ways that they even put this whole offseason in his hands shows you some of that. So I think a lot of that probably will come through in a little more material ways here going forward.
Last one for beloved scribe, 30 seconds, you get it all. Myles Garrett to the LA Rams. Yeah. There goes Jared Verse in a first-round pick. Does that make the Rams the target at which to shoot in the NFC?
I think they certainly know that the target at which to shoot is in their division, and the 49ers are also in their division, and the only way you're going to knock some of those teams off is with pass rush, and obviously they've seen what they can do to Sam Darnold with pass rush. So it feels like they're making a big move. They're taking a swing at it while they still have Matthew Stafford trying to get one more in before that transition happens. And Jared Verse has been great. They've had a great front, but they know. I mean, they won their last Super Bowl with Aaron Donald. Having a transformational pass rusher like that, or like a Myles Garrett, can win you championships. So I think the move is kind of with that in mind.
Congratulations to the high school team.
Thank you.
Hard work pays off.
Yes.
May God bless you and your family, and look forward to seeing you soon. All right.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Ben Goessling, Star Tribune, StarTribune.com, at Ben Goessling via X. News Du Nordo is next.
You're listening live to Paul Allen at 9 to noon on iHeartRadio.